Okay, so you know what? In my last video, I said I wasn't going to get back into the speaking stuff, but I'm actually thinking with the direction that Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, and all the other guys are heading with this so-called perception of black conservative. They're actually leading people who support Trump, black people who support Trump, and black people who support Republican views down the wrong path. And I'm going to elaborate on that a bit more. But before I do that, I saw this video with her and a guy called Kingface that was just so off key, and I felt, it needs to be debunked. Now, for those that don't know, Candace Owens has these 1 hour shows. I don't really have time to watch it. There's some of them I have tried to watch, but it's not that entertaining, so I don't. But there was a channel that brought one of the shows, in fact, this show in particular, into 10 minutes. I think the channel was trying to highlight the strong points. So I'm going to watch that 10-minute edit with you guys and look at these strong points, and then we're going to get straight into debunking it. So let's start with whatever she talks about. Let's hear. I'm hearing this as well. I listened to it for 2 minutes. Now I'm going to go through the whole thing with you guys over here. Let's go through
When
it.
I sit down and I think by myself about why we ended up in this predicament, I always come up with the answer of culture. What is Black culture? How is it impacting Black America? Is it for the better or is it for the worse? Here to discuss all of those things with me is first and foremost, a personality. If you are not following online, he goes by the moniker Kingface. Welcome to the Candace Owens Show.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Kingface is also, for those of you that are listening, he is one of my Black City ambassadors. He speaks to the Black community, and by himself, he is the founder of something called the DAD Project, which stands for Developing American Dreams. Just give us your take on what's happening right now with Black Lives Matter and all of these protests and riots.
I mean, I just think it's in a sense, a test to see who they can control and who they can't. Black Lives Matter, they've always used the emotions of Black people in order to get their agendas to be pushed. And I've noticed that it's like everything is emotional. It's like everything, you got cops shooting somebody and they put this certain narrative. And what that does in our community, it builds fear. And once you're
Okay, so I want to get into something which, this is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to debunk these people with my ideologies. I'm debunking them with their own ideologies. They always try and act like Black people are in this world of their own. They act like Black people are in this mad world of their own when we start believing in conspiracies, when we start believing the government is trying to bring us down, when we start talking about the government is doing things against us. But notice that when he started talking about Black Lives Matter, he said they want to control us. Who is they? You see, this is the problem with these. I don't want to say Black Democrats because I don't even consider them as Black Democrats. These self-hating Black people that want to be the face of Black Democrats. They will challenge you as if you're stupid when you talk about conspiracies. But then they want to talk about conspiracies when they want to talk about the opponents of Republicans. So the question is, who is they? Let's go back to that again. Let's hear what he had to say.
Black Lives Matter and all of these protests and riots.
I mean, I just think it's in a sense, a test to see who they can control and who they can't. Black Lives Matter, they've always used the emotions of Black people in order to get their agendas to be pushed. And I've noticed that it's like everything is emotional. It's like everything, you got cops shooting somebody and they put this certain narrative. And what that does in our community, it builds fear. And once you're afraid of something, especially with officers who you're supposed to feel safe around, and they keep pushing that narrative, people are going to now be put in more positions to have those things happen, because that's how they make their money. That's how they get their exposure, is through the death of Black men. They don't get it from actually, protecting Black lives at all. Nothing is about Black Lives Matter that has to do with any Black lives. If somebody could.
Now that's very stupid. You're talking about nothing about Black Lives Matter is about protecting Black lives. The reason why Black Lives Matter exists is because the people who are supposed to be protecting Black lives are not doing it. Now, I want to be very, very clear before I continue, in case I did not give the right intro. I do not support Black Lives Matter. I do not support that organization. Yes, I am down with the sentiments of those three words. I do believe Black Lives Matter. I have been against police brutality from the youngest age I could remember. I've been involved in protest riots. I've been involved in revolutionary organizations. So I am number one against police brutality, but I'm not down with that fake democratic political agenda, Black Lives Matter. And in case you don't know, I am a Trump supporter. But at the end of the day, I am not going to act like the reason why Black Lives Matter exists came out of thin air. We know it came out of a consistency of police brutality in the Black community. And although it's not as prevalent as it was in the Obama years, there's still things that have happened under Trump, which I don't believe Trump has been a part of, that has ignited it. Now, I believe that the Democrats at some stage got hold of the organization Black Lives Matter, and they're exploiting Black people to fulfill their political agenda. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so they're riding on Black people's emotions, which is partially where he's also coming from. So to that extent, I do agree that, and I'm not going to say they, I'm going to say the Democrats, and I'm going to push it a step further and say the elites that want to get rid of Trump. But let's carry on and see what he has to say.
You show me when they've been around to actually prevent these George Floyd incidents, as you would say, from happening.
No, it's not Black Lives Matter that are supposed to walk around and prevent the George Floyd incident. The police are supposed to prevent the George Floyd incident. I don't even know why you can even bring that in an argument. Like, I don't care whether you are Republican, whether you're for Trump, whether you're for Democrats. That is a stupid point. Black Lives Matter is not like a Batman. It's not like a Superman, or even the people who just agree with the sentiments. The reason why we exist is because the Batman and the Supermans of the world are killing us. Or should I say, brutalizing us, if I should use that word, because the murder rate has been down, which is what Officer Tatum and Candace Owens like to use to challenge the fact that there's no police brutality. But let's continue.
Then I could look at Black Lives like it's a positive thing. But they're not doing that. If this exists, then I want to see it. A kid going to school, minding his business, getting good grades, no record, getting shot by a cop. Is it a coincidence that everybody that's shot by a cop has a bad record? The thing that we keep...
First of all, no, not everyone who has been shot by a cop has a bad record. Philando Castro did not have a bad record. The Tamir Rice did not have a bad record. This is the kind of bullshit they say. They just say shit because they know that the public doesn't wake up and go and research. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you're someone who's busy working daily or doing whatever you're doing in school, and you come home and you just listen to this, you're going to think this guy knows what he's talking about. But he just made a statement that's false. Not everyone who's been killed by the police has a bad record. That is just crazy to say that. And even, first of all, let's debunk that not everyone has a bad record. But let's say even if everyone did have a bad record, at which point does killing them justify that? At which point do we see hundreds of videos with white people running around? White people with guns and knives, and the police detain them. White people doing mass shootings and the police still detain them. Yet we have to be the people who, because we've got a faulty check, or because we walked in and looked in a building that was empty, or because someone was following us and we had a hostile reaction, that justifies our killing. People are not saying that white people don't get killed. We're just saying that the reasons how black people get killed is nothing compared to the others. And again, I'm not a supporter of Black Lives Matter. I'm a supporter of justice for Black people against police brutality. And I'm still a Trump supporter. I don't want to say MAGA because I'm not American. I feel I'm abusing those words if I do. But yes, I'm down for Trump and everything he's for. Yeah, so that's just stupid to say that everyone who's been shot or killed by the police that has ignited a reaction has a bad record. Let's continue.
Ignoring is comply. Like, comply. What is so difficult with that? What's so difficult with respect? What's so difficult about that? If when I get
Okay, Sandra Bland complied, Philando Castro complied, George Floyd complied. What are you talking about?
pulled over by a cop, I don't automatically get nervous like everybody else because I know I don't have nothing in my car. The most I could do is get a ticket. Now, how could I avoid the ticket just in case? Just be as respectful as possible. When cops pull me over, especially at night, I roll all my windows down, turn all the lights on in the car, take my key, put it on the roof of the car, and put my hand on the steering wheel. When they come, you gotta understand the fear that they have as an officer. If they approach in the car, it didn't happen many times that the news don't talk about. They get shot as soon as they walk up to the window because they don't know what they expect. That's why even now you see cops will be nervous. They'll walk in like this because they don't know what to expect.
So this guy is trying to say that we are wrong because we're nervous. Listen to that. Don't, like, you've got to hear the bullshit in what they say. He is saying that we are wrong because they're nervous. But at the same time, he's saying that we are wrong because we are nervous. And the officer is the one with the gun and the one who has the authority and the law behind him. And yet he's trying to justify their nervousness, all whilst trying to criticize Black people for being nervous. Now listen to that. Black people, where we have so much evidence, we didn't look. Hey, look, police have been killing Black people since God knows when. Will Smith made a comment. Police brutality hasn't gotten worse. It's just getting filmed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Black people have been talking about police brutality and cops killing us since hip hop began. But the world ignored it. The only time the world paid attention to it was with the rise of social media. Black people did not make this shit up. So if Black people, Black Americans, start to get nervous when a police comes, it's because of the actions of police officers. This shit was not made up. Because at the time when Black people were saying it was there, nobody listened. Nobody believed them. We thought they were thugs. We thought they were criminals. We thought they were drug dealers. The world only opened up to it last year when videos, recordings of police brutality started coming out. So we have a right to be scared. Okay, we didn't make this shit up. This is not a fallacy. People have seen this all over the web. People in China, people in Africa, like where I am, people in Europe, we've all seen this. Okay, no one has seen videos of police getting shot when they're walking towards a car. And they're the ones with the body camera. So you tell me why the media doesn't show that or why that doesn't go viral. Because you're making bullshit up just to justify yourself. This is what I'm saying. These guys are full of bullshit. Candace Owens and whoever the fuck this guy is, they're full of bullshit. Let's listen to it again when he tries to say the police have the right to be nervous, but I'm not nervous because I'm not a criminal. Man, they make me fucking sick. But let's play it. Let's hear this.
It didn't happen many times that the news don't talk about. They get shot as soon as they walk up to the window because they don't know what they expect. That's why even now you see cops will be nervous. They'll walk in like this because they don't know what to expect. But if I turn all the lights on, windows down, my hands on the steering wheel, key on top of the roof, he knows what's going on in my car. He knows there's nobody else in there. He knows I'm not going nowhere. And he knows I don't got no weapon to do anything to him because my hands is on the steering wheel. They come comfortable. They fit, and that energy automatically shifts. So even if they feel like it's gonna be one of those sketchy calls, the energy shifts like, oh, okay, they respect me. They be, how you doing, officer? They'll be like, license and registration. Sure. I don't have to go, well, what you pull me over for? What you did that?
Because I'm black.
Yeah, and that's the automatic first thing that comes to their mind. But this is what they're being programmed to think. And I'm like, that's dangerous. Because when you're nervous, you might make a move that you shouldn't make. And cops are just as scared, if not more than you. They deal with this.
This is the same nigga who said, "Oh, why you pull me over?" He's wearing a shirt with conservative thug written on it. Now I know the thug is acronyms, it means something, but just think about that for a minute. Because they're going to go into something that I know where they're going to go into this. They're going to go into this with, we are the ones who are giving them reasons to shoot us. But I'll hold my words. Let's see. Let's see where this goes.
Every day. So they might, especially now in this climate, it's like you can get shot. So it's teaching our kids fear and stuff like that. We have to be more on teaching them how to prevent it from happening, and by having respect for the job that they're doing and respect your life. Comply.
How difficult is it to comply? How difficult is it to not go to prison 9 times? How difficult is it to not be high, holding a counterfeit bill? Don't have the cops called on you. Don't put yourself in any circumstance close to that. And people have a hard time having that conversation because it centers around respect. And I think the Black community has a very hard time with respect. In fact,
people don't have a hard time having that conversation, because at the end of the day, we have a situation, okay, and I'm going to highlight this, okay. We have a situation where we have loads of black people that have mysteriously died under police custody. Now, think of this, okay? Just really think of this. I want you guys to see it's first I want to give an analogy before I get into it, because I know what I'm going to say. But it's like have a woman being in a house and she's being abused by her husband, and her option is to go out and live on the streets with murders and thugs and whatever, and someone is blaming the woman and saying, well, why don't you do this? It's like she hasn't got the option. Now let me bring it back to what I'm saying about this. Minutes ago they were just talking about weeks ago, Candace Owens made a video insulting, well, I won't say insulting George Floyd, but condemning him for his history, what he had done in the past, despite the fact that it was obvious he was changing his life. She made a video bringing all of that past up in a way to say that people shouldn't respect your murder. And even that's what they're saying now. He's saying that if you're getting good grades and you're just complying, you're not going to get shot by the police. So already they're denouncing people who have a criminal record. So now if I've got a criminal record and the police is coming to arrest me, why should I comply? Why should I comply? Because if they kill me in custody where there are no cameras, these people are going to be sitting here denouncing justice for me, because they're going to be digging up my past and telling me I deserve to die. So if I've got a criminal record and I get stopped, I have no option but to fight it. And I'm not saying me per se. I'm not saying that's what I'll do. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that based on these people's logic, I do not deserve justice if I have a criminal record. If I have a criminal record and they kill me in custody with no cameras, and then they say I hanged myself like they said Sandra Bland did, these people are going to be here on this show justifying it. Yet they want to, at the same time, they want to tell you that you should comply if the police come and get you. It can't be both ways, especially when there's so many false criminal charges being put on black men. Let's continue.
a very disrespectful community. We celebrate being disrespectful. We're anti-establishment. F the police, right? Call the female, right? How can our youth flourish when we're teaching and promoting and celebrating and applauding disrespect?
Because even in Brooklyn right now, when you look, the crime rate is going up in Brooklyn. We've had, the other day, there was literally 7 shootings in 10 minutes. Like, I'm talking about different areas in Brooklyn. So it's like, what influenced that? When you look at the lifestyle of Chicago, we done took in the whole drill music, and into as soon as that we got that into our community, the gang violence shot up extremely. But it's all about being cool. And it's like, you willing to die to be cool?
It's so funny you say that because so I was just telling you offline that I added an addendum to my book on culture, and I literally said Black America has a problem with wanting to be cool. I used the exact word, and there's a quote in that chapter that I want to bring up, which was a quote that was written by Confucius, who was a Chinese philosopher. I think it was like he was a Chinese philosopher from 440 BC. I mean, long time ago. And he said, if one should desire to know whether a kingdom is well governed, if its morals are good or bad, the quality of the music will furnish the answer. And when I read that quote, I instantly thought about Black America and the quality of the music, right? What you're putting in your ear is going to tell you whether or not the morals in this community are good and bad. I'm very Black. I just don't recognize this decade of being Black, because
this
this is
culture.
not what Black was in the 1940s. This is not what Black was in the 1950s. This is not when my grandfather was listening to music. The number one song was The Temptations. My Girl, right? I write about this in the chapter. The first words of My Girl: I got sunshine on a cloudy day, and when it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. And then I looked at the top song right now in Black America, and it's Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. And the first lyrics are like, I'm that, I'm the, wait. And I'm thinking this happened in the span of 40 years.
I wanted this fool to run her mouth before I got onto this point. I wanted this fool to really run her mouth before I got into this point. You know the difference between 40 years and now with Black American music? 40 years and now with Black American music is that the acceleration of the music was organic. Music, yeah, I know there was promotion and money behind it, but you know, there was also a lot of Black record labels. There was Motown and all their competitors, and then you had the Jackson Fives and his dad managing them. So you had a lot of independence with Black music. And when you had that independence, we had the ability to say what we want. Don't bullshit us as if you're not aware that it's white companies. Yes, I know they're Black artists, but they're white companies that are pushing the murderous music within the Black community and around the world. That is white companies that are pushing the Megan Stallions of the world. Don't act like you don't know that. They're pushing it so much that it overshadows the intelligent hip hop music, where we have people like Pharoah Monch, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Common, De La Soul, Cannabis, name it, Dead Prez, name it. It goes on and on and on. Erica Badu, man, I've got a suitcase of CDs of conscious artists. I've got a suitcase of CDs. That's how you know I'm not a young nigga. So don't act like there wasn't a change. I mean, look, inner city communities are impoverished, right? We have bad education, which you would agree with because you blame the Democrats for it. So you cannot deny that the Democrats have damaged education in the Black communities without giving people the choice to send their children to schools outside of their communities, which Trump has just resolved. That's one reason why we gotta you Black Americans have to vote Trump, which Trump has just resolved. So if we've got these poor inner cities and this bad education, right, which is not leading us to having great jobs, and then we see that this artist is out here talking about bitches, guns, drugs, and this artist is getting more successful. What and they're getting successful based on white companies that are pounding them with contracts and money and cars and all of these things and making their videos go viral around the world. And I'm talking about before the social media played a part in it. What do you think the young people are going to do? The young people who want to help their moms and help their uncles and whatever. They're not thinking community. They're just thinking, I gotta do this. I gotta rap about this. I cannot rap about consciousness. So it's white people that change the culture. But guess what? In today's world, Megan Stallion is not big and Beyonce is not number one because of black people. They're number one because of white people and the sales that they're making in white communities. Okay, so why don't you take your little bullshit theory and go to the white community and apply this to them? Oh no, because you're getting married to a white man and you just want to justify how white people are so great. But at the end of the day, it's white people who are putting these people on top. No black person is putting any criminal rappers at the top of any chart anywhere. You are not going to. I think probably the last criminal rapper that black people put on the top of the charts was probably 50 Cent. I think he's the only one that I know that black people were really like, it was predominantly black people who were on him until the white community followed. All these Trippy Red and 6ix9ine shit, black people don't follow that stuff. So take your theory to the white community. I wanted you to get to that before. And yes, and there is a lot of proof, there is a lot of documentaries on how the government was part of this cultural change in hip hop and society. But you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to research into it. I know you're a smart ass lady. If you wanted to research into this and you wanted to show that side of reality, you could do it in minutes. But you just want to show the side that appeases to the white people so you can humiliate and mock black people on your stupid little show. Let's continue.
right? 40 years. So what happened to black culture?
And I mean, that is what happened to black culture. Because once it became like you have to live a certain type of way, now it's like there's no other way to live. It's like, and we congratulate stupidity in the black community. Like, the more stupid you are, it's like, yeah. And I tell people, I was like, why you think kids didn't want to grow up going to school? Because going
How stupid was that? Like, I'm just listening to this and thinking how, you see, you can sit down and listen to these people quote theorists and all these people from the century 1400 or whatever, and then you just listen to some basic thing, and if you're smart, you'd be like, how stupid was that? He's talking about how black people is not cool to go to school in black neighborhoods. How many white movies have depicted bullies that were bullying people? Where did the fucking term nerd come from? It came from white society. And why does it exist? Because white people have a culture of bullying intelligent white kids who wanted to go to school. It is rampant across the world. It's not just black people. You have these muscle bound kids who have been abused in their houses and want to make it uncool for the kids that want to learn. It's not a black culture. And this is what I'm saying. They will pick any low part of this world and attach it to black people, and pick anything great about this world and attach it to white people. Just like I said, how the music goes across board. White people buy into hip hop music these days than black people. But she won't align that with white people. She'll come back and align that with black people. The same with him. The bullying culture goes across board with all races. But he won't say anything about when white people are failing schools or whatever. He's just going to use that as a scapegoat without accepting that the government has been a major part and played a major part in the failure of black kids in schools. But he's gonna blame the concept of the bully culture and not being cool to go to school on black people, because only black people had that. So all the time we watched those movies, Back to the Future and all those movies where white kids were bullying the nerds, no, white people didn't do it, only black people.
going to school, you became a nerd. It's like they don't respect you. When it comes to like people coming home from jail compared to somebody that's coming home from college, you see the difference in love and respect. And you know who gets it? The guy that comes home from jail.
And the more successful you become,
Look, it's common sense. You have someone who goes home, who goes away to jail. You don't know what's going to become of them. You don't know if they're going to die. People get shanked, as we used to say in the UK. People get killed. People get stabbed. People get raped. People get hurt in jail. And sometimes people get more time added to their sentence. So when someone comes home from jail, it's a relief. It's not a celebration that they were in jail. It's a celebration that they're no longer in jail. It's I don't even know how stupid these guys are. I mean, so all the while that you would see families celebrate that a family member came home from jail, you thought they were celebrating the years he spent in jail. You thought they were like, "Wow, guys, you were in jail. How was it, man? Did you enjoy it? Do you want to go back?" Like, how stupid can you be to make that comment? That people of course they're going to celebrate more because they almost lost you. They almost lost a loved one. That's like if someone was buried under the ground for 3 months and you couldn't find him, and one day you found him. You're going to celebrate that more than someone who got a fucking degree. Not because he's achieved anything by being buried under the sand, but because you didn't know what could become of him. But they're gonna use that line. They're just using the same rhetoric. It's the dumbest thing that these self-hating. I don't even want to use the word Republicans, because the Republican has nothing to do with race in its constitution, other than the fact that they freed the slaves. So I don't know where. Man, let's just continue with these self-hating people.
Unless the hood wants anything to do with you. And this is so tragic. Be black, right? What it means to be black is you have to pretend to be uneducated. You have to speak broken English. Who wants to play that? Eventually you say, okay, you know what? I'm done with this. I've tried my whole life, and they tried their whole lives to help the black community, and we just rejected them. We said they're Uncle Toms and they're coons and they're race traders.
But we keep pushing our heroes away from us.
That's it.
And then talking about, oh, we don't got nobody representing us. We got nobody doing this. I'm like, even when I'm in the hood and people talking junk, I'm like, bro, you got somebody that is respected by the White House, bro. Like, we never had nobody that looked like me in the White House representing. I got tattoos all over my face, my hands. I'm in the White House, and you would think people would judge me. And it's like,
this is so stupid. He's telling black people that they have to respect someone in the White House because they look like him. But then they're going to turn around and they're going to say, well, you shouldn't like Obama just because he's black. But yet we have to like who they want us to like because that person is black. Again, I support Trump. I support the black people that support Trump. Do you see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is you can't pick when to use an ideology. You can't pick an ideology when it works for you and then turn your back on it when it works for your opponent. You can't come and say Obama, just because he's black doesn't mean nothing. Black people, you following him for all the wrong reasons. I hate Obama. I don't like Obama. But I don't like him because of his substance. But then you're going to turn around and use that argument on Obama. And then you're going to turn around and tell black people that they should automatically like someone who is Republican because that person's in the White House. Now, I don't know who he's talking about, but this should be an individual-based something, not a black-based something. I'm not going to like you because you're in the White House, especially when you're spewing the self-hate that I'm listening to right now. Remember, I'm still down for Trump. This is don't get it twisted.
Like, they didn't. They loved me and respect me for my mind and what I'm able to do.
Case in point, when I posted a photo, of my husband, and someone wrote, the racist comments under there for black people, this must be why she's conservative. Oh, the white man this. I said, just imagine that reversed. Imagine a white guy is married to a black woman and he posts a photo of his black wife and a bunch of white people comment under there, oh, look, that's why you're betraying our race. It's unfathomable. Could you imagine if a bunch of white people commented under that after seeing a black woman marrying a white man? People would go crazy. They would say this is an example of racism, but black people do it comfortably.
I don't know which world she lives in. I really don't know which world she lives in, and all the racist comments that have been spotted on the internet by white people. And obviously, first of all, I'm not justifying hate by nobody. If you want to marry a white man, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. All right. If you find love with a white man or a white woman, go ahead. But don't come to the black community, okay, act like you are some hired leader, like the black community looked for you and then they called you. Start insulting the black community because you can't do shit for us. You don't even know how to lead. I know you don't know how to lead because your last video after that comedian, oh, his name slipped my mind, Dave Chappelle insulted you. You made a video and you're like, so black people, what do you want? Black people have not called you. We've not called you. We did not ask for you. So if you come and force yourself into that position, then you gotta play by those rules. It's simple. I don't jump in my car and then drive on the wrong lane and then start complaining about people who are complaining about me. If I'm gonna drive, I'm gonna drive by the rules. If you want to be a black leader, I'm not saying you cannot be a black conservative leader. You can be a black Republican leader, but every leader does not come from the angle where they want their people to be and then insult their people for not being there. They come from the angle base where their people are, and then they understand their people, and then they walk with their people, and they divert their people into the right direction. So if you're sitting down here acting like some sort of black spokeswoman, and you're not getting it right, and then we find out that you got a white man behind you all this time, it's not gonna sit down well. Like you gotta apply your common sense. Don't try and bring your interracial relationship into this discussion just to justify your love for that white D. It's okay if you wanna date him. No one has ever said you've got a problem dating outside your race. There are loads of black women who've dated outside their race with white men that black people have gone there and commented positively under that. Robert De Niro, when black people found out he was dating a black woman. The person who did the Star Wars movie, his name has slipped my mind. When people found out he was dating a black woman, they got so much positive comments by black people. You're getting negative comments because you're an asshole. You're an asshole. And you stick your nose in black people's business like we've hired you to come and talk for us. And we don't like your perspective. We don't like your views. We don't care how many facts you have. Your perspective and your mentality is off course. And it's insulting and it's demeaning. And you're not speaking to black people. You're speaking to white people, laughing and humiliating black people. That's what you're doing. So when they find out you've got a white man, that's the reaction.
Talking about, and I'm sitting here when you even say that, you should be ashamed of yourself for not knowing your history. Your ancestors died for that right. Okay. Like what Love versus Virginia, the Supreme Court case, when they literally got imprisoned, a black and a white person for falling in love. You know what I mean? These people fought to end that sort of discrimination so that you could marry who you love, right? True equality, being able to marry who you love, where their background doesn't matter. And you're ashamed of that.
No. Don't twist it for your sick love and your sick behavior. Okay? Black people fought for freedom and everything that restricted our freedom. And that was freedom to marry who we wanted to marry. That's what we fought for. We didn't fight for someone to come and insult us and then have this sort of alignment with the views of racist white people. And then be a mouthpiece for racist white people, but a harder mouthpiece because you're black. What you're doing, Candace Owens, is like what has happened in Africa. It's called neocolonialism. When the white people left after all the independence, they made sure they found politicians who would carry out their agenda, and then they funded them. And then what was even worse is that those puppets they put in power were able to do much worse to Africa because this time it was being done with a black face and people weren't going to rise up against it. And that's what you are. So that's why when people see your white man, they react that way, because now they're attaching your connection with white power, which is what you're talking about. Don't act like you don't know that there is a power based aspect in the conversations you're having, because if there was none, you wouldn't even be talking about black people in the first place.
You say you want integration, but you're fighting for more segregation. You know,
Nobody said they wanted integration. Nobody said they want segregation. People are just saying, allow us to live the way we want to live. If we want segregation, we want to have the right to be able to live on that side of the world. If we want to integrate with you, we want to have the right to be able to live on that side of the world. That's all black people are asking for. No one is fighting for integration. Like, where the fuck did you get that from?
LeBron James is number one to me. I mean, he's so talented on the court, but this is not an educated man, right? And so he takes the bait, and a bunch of people follow him, and they go, "Oh yeah, see, LeBron's actually black." LeBron, you are hurting Black America when you lie, when you don't research the fact, when you send a tweet and say we're literally being hunted, absent any facts. You're not a hero in that regard.
Well, I tell people, like, look, at the end of the day, we have to focus on the real situations, because if we take care of the real situation, the police brutality situation would disappear.
Right. Because you'll have upstanding citizens.
Exactly.
Police don't want to get into these confrontations with black people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's like, what is our problems? Fatherhood.
This is another stupid argument they keep making. If you take care of the real situations, then police brutality will disappear. Hold up, motherfucker. Aren't the police there to get rid of the real situations? I mean, aren't police put in the community to reduce crime? Aren't the police put to make sure that crime doesn't exist? The same shit. This is why I keep saying that you use their argument to debunk them. They debunk themselves. Like, bro, like, I can be speaking loosely, but don't underestimate the power of the mind. Okay? This guy said he doesn't support Black Lives Matter because they should be the ones who are stopping the George Floyd incidences before it arises, right? Yet the people who we pay taxes for to do that, he's giving them a pass and saying that that shit should automatically be stopped so police brutality doesn't arise. So where you're telling me that the crime goes on and then the police are here to brutalize us because of the crime, instead of the police stopping the crime before the crime even happens. This is mind twisting. Like, then what do we even have the police for? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm saying. These guys do not think. They're not as smart as you think they are, black people. They're not as smart as you think they are. They've got their ammunition with their statistics and their quotes and what have you, but the mentality is wrong. The mentality is wrong. It's intellectual masturbation. That's a term someone used a while ago, and it's like you're just regurgitating the same nonsense because the song has been sung so much in your head that you don't even think about it. It's like when you watch an action movie and then you see the man fighting 7 people at a time, and then you don't ask yourself the question like, okay, whilst he was punching this person 5 times at a go, what were the other 7 people doing? Like, you've seen that then replay so much in your life that you don't ask questions anymore. And that's what these guys are doing. It's like they've sung the same old song. Oh, the police are brutalizing you because you're criminals. Oh, they wouldn't have done this if you didn't have a false check. But wait, hold up. Isn't that why we call on the police? We don't call on you to come and kill us because of minor crimes. But, anyways,
lack of education,
Lack of
culture,
respect.
lack
Yeah.
of respect. Like, so why don't we focus on those things that's really destroying our community? I think, especially from this conservative movement, I'm seeing a lot of young black people that are like giving us hope. Like,
Mm.
oh man, we can make it happen. Two people gonna wake up because I seen it. I got hundreds of thousands of people that hit me up like, yo, you changed my life, bro. Like I used to think this type of way, and now listening to you. So I know people want to listen because at the end of the day, as we
Okay, so I don't want that logo there. So I see where he's going. Okay, and I want to say this. This is the reason why I'm making these videos, because right at this stage, America is at a crossroads, and the way forward for Black people really is Trump. Really, it is. I'm not bullshitting you. It is Trump. The policies he's putting, everything he's doing. So if that means you want to become a Republican, go ahead. But Trump really is the way. The reason why I'm making these videos right now is because you have these self-hating Black people that are trying to be the gatekeepers to being a Black Republican. I'm talking about the Officer Tatums. I'm talking about the Candace Owens. They want you to believe that in order for you to embrace the Republican ideology or party or whatever you want to see yourself getting immersed into, that you have to embrace their self-hating views, that they've for some reason picked upon themselves, all of them involved in interracial relationships. Let's get that clear. Okay, all of them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but when you want to talk about someone who's mainly in the fight for race and wants to talk about the love for Black people and what have you, you're not going to start with people with interracial relationships. I'm not saying that they're not people in interracial relationships that have done a good job for their people, but I'm just saying it's not a starting point. Okay, it's definitely not a starting point. You know, um, and so that's what you have. So that's the reason why I'm making these videos, because I like the fact, and I'll commend them for the fact of supporting Trump, and I'll commend them for the fact of seeing that in this time and day the Republican Party is the way forward. But I'm just trying to let you guys know that don't follow them blindly. These people are not what you think. Their ideologies are not Republican ideologies. There's nothing in the Constitution or in the Republican manifesto or in Trump's party that talks about race. There's nothing. There's nothing that talks about race. Trump brags on the fact that he's brought black employment in America, black unemployment in America way down. If Trump was out here saying, F black employment, you guys got to pick yourself up, these guys will be championing that point hard. Their race has nothing to do with the party at this moment, but at where black people are at, Trump is the way forward. Okay. Now, these people who have these self-hating ideologies are trying to use that to brand that. So it's almost like having good food. There's good food. It's tasty. Everyone knows it's good food and you want to eat it. But they're putting poison in it. So just because the food tastes good and part of the food is nutritious doesn't mean everything that's going in your mouth is nutritious. And that's what these people are doing. They know Trump is the way, they know the Republican Party is the way, so they're trying to bring their hate for themselves as black people, which we will see loads of times, and they're trying to tell you this is how to become a Republican. This is how to believe you're a Republican. And when you go and watch the other Republican news channels, you'll see none of this self-hatred is going on. Yes, we know there are some racists amongst Republicans. In fact, we know most racists are going to align themselves with Republicans. No problem. But you don't need to embrace this self-hating view. And that's my message. So that's it. That's debunking, what's its name? Candace Owens and Kingface. And let me know what you think of this video. Throw me something in the comment section. I'm thinking I'll get back into this because I'm seeing a lot of shit that's popping up, and as a brother concerned from a black American, brothers, I'm gonna be doing it. I don't write scripts, I don't write notes. I do it off the top of my head, so sometimes it could be smoother, but I really don't have so much time. So this is the best I could do. Share this video, like this video, comment, let me know what you think. Um, Let me know how I can improve things. And if you want me to look over something or talk on something, hit me up in the DM and we'll take it from there.